Other sources. If you need late-breaking news, you should go to a credible source, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Economist. And all of these actually are searchable for free through the UNM libraries. The Wall Street Journal and the Economist can't get full access if you just go the regular route on the internet. But if you go from library.unm.edu, journal titles, and type in the Wall Street Journal or the Economist, you will get to the databases. So that's a really great resource. It's one of the perks of being on campus. There's also professional reports, and these are typically written by PhD economists. They use good methods, and they're written in English. They're not so technical, so they're for a general audience. So they're not crazy technical. Government and multilateral organizations that produce these reports, you could look at the U.S. Department of Labor, the U.S. Census, the World Bank, the IMF, development banks, the Inter-American Development Bank, the African Development Bank, and so on, the International Labor Organization, and the United Nations Agency. So these are government and multilateral organizations, a really, really good source for reports. If you're doing if you have to do a big literature review for a class, which we're not doing for this class. Remember, we're just using Palgrave and a Journal of Economic Literature article, but these are really good sources. A lot of them will come up in EconLit, so doing a general search in EconLit is always a good idea. Okay, think tanks also will provide professional reports, but they almost always have a political agenda. So there's two well-regarded think tanks, Brookings, and that one leans left, and the American Heritage Foundation, which leans right. And it's okay to use their reports. It's a good idea to acknowledge the possible bias. Be aware of political slant in other organizations, even if their names suggest they are neutral. And in general, you want to avoid their reports. Centers associated with universities are generally okay, but even universities are associated with political positions. For example, George Mason is right-wing and UMass Amherst left-wing. Those are the econ departments. I can't speak for the rest of those schools. Maybe I can. Okay. All right. So when you're doing a report for another class, it's a really good idea if you're you're at some organization that you haven't heard of and you're not sure about, ask your professor.